pretending.
Pauline, can you hear me? You're just pretending.
Well, sleep on, meanie. Pauline, please say something. I'm so cold. I'd like to get warm next to you. I was dreaming that I was falling into a well. Cold water everywhere. I opened my mouth. Water came pouring into me through all my openings. I saw your face above the well, and I woke up, all covered in sweat, like cold water. Lena!
She's just pretending.
Please wake up! I'll read to you.
Fedodo, kalamaptitsa, fedodo, do-a-do-do-a-do-do-lo. Fedodo, kalamaptitsa, fedodo, do-a-do-do-lo.
Pauline! What's the matter?
I poisoned myself for love of Benjamin. I'm dying, Bibiana. Say goodbye to Auntie, Grandpa, and Cook. You'll find the jar with the poison under the bed. See you in heaven, my poor Bibiana.
Mind you, don't fall in the chamber pots. Got the lot, selfish. One of these days you're gonna die of stomach cramp from overeating. My kitty, my dolly, Lena, my little dumpling. Open your tiny little eyes. Don't go off to sleep. She's fallen asleep again. You revolting dumpling. She's asleep again. Asleep. You revolting dumpling. Oh, what revolting hair. Mustaches in her armpits. Blech. Wake up, my prince. My sleeping knight. Oh, my princess. Wake up, or I'll bite your nose off.
No! Give me back my nose, slug. Give me back my little nose, you horrid dead slug.
Lena's little nose is nice. Nice little nose. Sweet little potato.
Your tummy is full of worms. You're stuffed with worms.
I'm gonna be sick if you don't shut up.
When you're asleep, they crawl out of your nose and ears, long and white like spaghetti. They crawl out of your bottom.
Revolting. Revolting, Lena. Well, you have a mustache everywhere. Under each armpit and down there under your tummy. Dumpling. My warm, darling little dumpling. I'm not angry with you. Don't go off to sleep. I'll read you something, shall I?
Your reading bores me to tears.
Poetry, I suppose. Willows and swallows, aphelias, camellias,
Roses and poses.
You know something? I've got a cigar for you.
And an empty stomach to make me vomit. What is this book?
May I lie next to you? It isn't poetry. It's a very queer book. And we'll have to read it quickly so that Daddy won't notice it missing from the library. Holly, are you asleep again?
All right, start reading your fairy tales.
I'm so cold. I'm shivering like an aspen leaf.
Go on and read before I curse you, you caterpillar. People do invent strange words. You could make 4 mistakes in 1 word in a spelling test.
Know what I saw in the summer house yesterday? I almost lost my breath. I nearly died laughing.
Go on, show it to me. Well, really?
Didn't I tell you? You read it out loud first and then I will. You are warm.
All right, you dear cold slug. in women, in some four-handed small monkeys, in carnivores, in bears, hyenas, the white seal as well as the female daemon, the vagina is partially or totally covered with a membrane which the penis penetrates during the first intercourse.
And what is this demon?
Not a demon, a daemon! I don't know what that is either.
Queer name.
Oh, you know what? I suddenly feel hungry. I could eat a whole pig with trotters or even a daemon.
I've got something hidden away for you, sheer delight.
What is it?
Something sweet, something white, something soft like you. Guess.
Oh, Bibiana, stop torturing me. I really am dying of hunger.
Don't die.
Oh, my bee, my only one bee.
What about a spoon? How am I to eat this?
Never think in a practical way.
Well, why not use your hands? Or even your mouth, straight from the plate.
It's lemon flavored. Now I'll indulge if you can read.
Don't eat so fast, you'll feel sick. Man is a placental mammal. Consequently, his genital organs and their employment is the same as in all other animals endowed with hair, nipples, and a navel. Normally, he is not totally covered in hair, but there is no single area on his body where hair could not grow.
On the palms as well?
While on the head, under the arms, and on the mons pubis, both sexes have hair.
So boring with all these hairs. Hair everywhere. In the soup? On the comb?
But not on Grandpa's head.
Oh, it's as nauseating as licorice. Reach some other day.
Before the Polynesians had converted to Christianity, they had the habit of standing upright, holding their scrotum between their two hands so that the member would dangle between their fingers. This was the pose of the savage dandy. What is a savage dandy?
Savage Dandy is the name of the Polynesian member before conversion to Christianity.
What member?
The Polynesian member!
Some animals do not have a scrotum, as was already noted by Pliny.
Don't read that plea. Look, here is something interesting. A cow mull.
Not a cow mel, a camel. Anyway, we've had the camel.
Well, don't bother listening, I'll read it to myself.
Oh, this is interesting.
Selfish, slug.
All right, then read.
The member of dromedaries and cats hooks back. That's possible.
And how do you know?
Idiot. Wholly innocent. During erection, the member rises and points forward.
I have no idea.
The what?
Surely the dromedary and the camel are the same. But how can you compare a cat to a camel?
Oh, for heaven's sake. Surely a dromedary is a name of people in diplomatic service, posted to the east and engaged in translating foreign languages. I'm trying to remember the name of the friend the poet Slowaki had. Surely you know all this by heart. He held just such a post and shot himself in the head.
Spicknagel.
Spicknagel. You always interrupt in the most interesting places to show off your knowledge. Ruminants and wild boars have slim members. Solid ungulates, namely elephants and sea cows, have thick and round members. That sounds like genuine science. Cows have udders.
But this is a sea cow.
What difference does that make?
Evidently you don't milk a sea cow, so she doesn't need udders.
Oh, rudders. You don't milk cook, but she has rudders all the same.
Udders, not rudders. Irritates me when you don't speak properly.
Show off, idiot. You just show off in order to stick a pin in me.
Me, a pen?
Anyway, what about that stupid Spicknagel?
Me turn to you, Spicknagel, to hurt you? You really are despicable, Lena.
Well, why don't you have a good look at yourself and you'll find a tiny little udder or two there.
And do you have nipples? Yes, but you haven't, of course. Slugs don't have nibbles.
Glass and china. Bianca's parents. My daughter. He is hidden behind a newspaper. She is crunching macaroons.
God in heaven! Who could have expected it? It's incredible. Can you imagine it, Lizzie? Kazio Mazurski is dead. Oh. Listen. Kazimierz Mazurski, one of Poland's distinguished balneologists and for many years director of the Truskavich Spa, died suddenly following a stroke at the age of 53. 53 years. That's 3 years older than me. Over the last 15 years, the development of the spa was closely linked with his name.
No.
Over a number of years, the late Dr. Mazurski was not only the director, but also the lessee of the establishment, and he retained the title of director even when the new owner of the establishment, Count Jutarski, the late Dr. Mazurski enjoyed popular respect and admiration. As regards the present-day development of Truskavich, which was his particular concern, he has made a permanent contribution.
No. No.
As far as Polish balneology is concerned, the death of a man at the height of his strength and experience, a man both energetic and active.
This is beyond comprehension.
The heart.
Look,
Well, is this Bianca's homework?
but she used to be such a healthy girl.
What's the matter with her then?
This looks like some poetry or other.
Oh, well, let's have a look. Just calm down. You see how this Kazakh is?
She was a perfectly normal girl.
Yeah. Oh. This is my first love. Even though so many kisses have burnt my lips. I love the most beautiful son of the earth, a splendid human beast with shining eyes and sleeping soul. I love disgustingly and wonderfully. I love and hate, I desire and despise.
She was a healthy girl. What's become of her?
You've sullied me with your eyes and you must die. You sullied me with blasphemies of words, and there is no torture for you that is beyond my imagination. Oh, you who've been a rose in my hair, a holy chalice.
This clearly has something to do with a man.
Rose in my hair, indeed. Why can't I destroy you like a rose, like a chalice, like a heart? Roses, chalices, this and that. In a word, a schoolgirl's tittle-tattle, and you go into hysterics.
Read. Please, go on.
On either side, a dizzy abyss. Behind me, the desert I traverse, begging the sun yellow and naked. Death on a humped camel gallops in pursuit. You've chosen your prey badly, camel rider. My legs are swift, they've overcome many an obstacle. My head is strong like a pomegranate, it will pierce the rock. Well, yes, indeed. Perhaps something is not quite so. Nolens volens, it does not make sense. Where is this humped camel sprung from like a jack-in-the-box?
Oh, God.
Yes, you must have seen a painting in Bremen and she's fantasizing now. It's a humped camel.
Vincent, I am afraid.
Or I'll jump behind you on the camel, tear the bridle out of your hands and rush past with death in my sight. Now, what in God's name is all this about the camel? Now, the very fact that she keeps writing camel, that's sheer perversity. She thinks this makes her a more literary person. She probably means not so much a humped camel as an ordinary one-hump or two-hump camel, and she has got a hunchback instead, of course. She meant a dromedary, and she's got a hunchback camel instead.
Vincent, I'm afraid what she means by it is a man.
Well, don't be silly.
Some dromedary? Oh, the indescribable charm of a sunburned face. Oh, sweet terror of purple lips and steely eyes.
No stuff and nonsense.
Steely eyes. Whole days I keep my eyes closed in order to see them and get drunk on them. I run into the cave of the golden calf and pay divine homage to the idol. I want to whip you.
Whip, whip, whip. And
until I have whipped into you that unconditioned pain which arouses the spirit even in a beast. I want to torture you into a moan from the deepest abysses. You know it, you wonderful, stupid animal. You know it and you don't, because your brain rises above your trembling body like a molehill on a volcano. You feel that terrifying flame in me, and that is why you run so faithfully, like a maddened steed into a burning house, a viper of desires clinging to my breasts, and a lioness of ecstasy tears at my entrails.
Should be all right now.
I love the viper in my breasts, and the lioness in my entrails. Oh.
I brought that frame you ordered, ma'am.
Oh, yes, it's quite a good photograph. Very image of Mazersky. All the same, 53 years.
Perhaps you ought to go and see Osinski. I think you ought to look at Osinski if you get a chance.
What was that?
We've got to make up for the losses. So many things got broken since last year. It really is quite frightening.
No, last year we bought a whole crate full of glass.
Don't you know, in the kitchen it all slips through their hands. Even the dinner service has pieces missing.
Osinski is a terrible robber. Fiakowski will sell you the same damn stuff, only cheaper.
But Vincent, Osinski has artistic products which could become part of Bianca's trousseau. Fiakowski has nothing fashionable, and it would be nice to have something in the secession style or Highland manner. Osinski has good quality products and a refined taste. Fiakowski is simply a glass and china warehouse.
My dearest, before B gets married, we will certainly have more than one china set smashed. Meanwhile, I need a time harrow and a centrifuge.
I can use a centrifuge to serve a table. Besides, you can count the glass and the service as part of Bianca's trousseau. I have chosen a set that is cheap and practical. Here. Beautiful dinner sets costing 50 and 60 rubles for 12 persons. Best china, decorated with beautiful hand-painted flowers or with initials comprising the following items: 36 flat plates, 12 soup plates, 12 pudding plates, 12 dessert bowls, 12 coffee cups with saucers, 12 teacups with saucers, 1 tureen, 4 oval dishes, 2 round dishes, 2 fish dishes, 4 salad bowls, 2 gravy bowls and 2 gravy spoons, a fruit bowl, 2 mustard sets, 2 salt cellars, 2 butter dishes, 1 coffee pot or teapot, a total of 121 items.
Ah, 121 items.
Fiance sets cost 34 rubles, and if you pay another 10 rubles, you get an extra 86 pieces of crystal glass. But we couldn't use the fiance set as part of Bianca's trousseau.
Stock of china. Oh, what a transport problem. Oh.
The confessional, my little Viviana.
I now see everything is unclean. In the garden, in the meadow, fat frogs mount one another. Butterflies open their trembling white wings and raise their abdomens. They fly around coupled, and even flies. I don't want to be a girl. I want to be a boy and have a member instead of an opening. I want to be a soldier when I grow up, and a clergyman now. Is that a sin? They all laugh at me at home. So please tell me why I can't be a priest. Is it because I'm a girl and only a man can be a parson? That means everything's been decided once and for all. Is it because I have a womb instead of a male member and scrotum? Is that why any man may mount me? So anyone with a prick can be only a boar, a bull, a stallion, and us? We are the unclean ones. They are clean, while those who bleed are unclean? How despicable that is! How silly! Naturally, they all laugh at me. Why can't parsons have bosoms? I don't know where I get these thoughts from. Do I have to chase them away through toil and prayer? I can't sleep. I hate father. I wish he were dead. He's not a father, he's an animal. He chases the women from the cowshed to the kitchen, from the kitchen to the drawing room. He assaults my mother. She's so tiny, like a bird. I heard her moan. I'm afraid he's going to break her, literally.
I'm wretched. She's all china, dozy and cold while I burn. I despise myself. Yet I desire them all. It's enough for something to resemble the female shape. Age or color, it makes no difference. Oh.
I desire with all my heart, universally, in thought, word, and deed. Unclean. Unclean, that's my drama. I thought old age would protect me. With no defensive walls, ramparts, ditches around my body. That thinking about life eternal beyond the grave would be my shield and defense against temptations, but even greed is returned, and gluttony, and laziness. I'm ashamed to say it's like being in high school again. For a student, and I've become vain and flirtatious. I thought I'd immerse myself in a deep blue old age like a cool crystal spring. And here am I living in a warm, thick suit, to put it delicately. I find myself returning to bad old habits I had 70 years ago. This hand, which ought to grip the rudder on the soil, and the plow. This hand, accustomed to the rapier and pen. Everything tempts, everything leads to temptation. Once again, I find myself picking raisins out of the cake, eating chocolates and fruit gums. I expected to take my place in the Pantheon, and I keep thinking about my looks. I keep going around staring. Those bottoms, those darling nipples, those hams, oh. I expected to be free from animal lusts and devoting myself to meditation in a hermitage. What's the use? I shudder when I meditate on eternal salvation beyond the grave. That disgusts me. So will he push me into the earth and stamp on it? Shut me up in a coffin, wall me up in a tomb? They'll push me into the earth and stamp on it. Well, here old these darling bottoms so wiggly and shapely. What an ass that naughty Pauline has now when you stroke it. It's like a peach in your pinch it, it's as tough as a thong, and you pat it and she turns it around like a spinning top.
I've come back with an amendment.
It's a bird! A bird! A bird!
Oh, 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 I can't bear this any longer. I'll take a drug or a potion. I'll stab myself. I never loved him, either when I was giving myself to him or when I was bearing his children. Inside I was always empty and cold. He was nothing to me, and now he has become hateful. I hate him, hate him, hate him. Now when I was a child, our daughter is about to become a wife, a woman, a mother. I find his advances repulsive and disgusting. Faithfulness and obedience unto death. Ah, what do you know of the hell which a married woman finds in the bed of an unloved husband? I've been hating him since our wedding night. He arouses disgust in me, just as then when I ran away to mother. They married me to him without asking my consent. They were afraid I would end up an old maid. There were 18 of us at home, 17 girls and one boy. The only boy, Benjamin, who died in the army during the Leipzig campaign. Was sent out the umbilical cord, le career. Oh, Father, if you had all that inside you like I have, you would sing a different tune, certainly different. As for that tyrant of mine, he hasn't diminished his demands, quite the contrary.
Will it please you, ma'am, that I rub the roast with garlic or with tamarind?
Tears of wonder, joy.
Should I add marjoram to the joint and dill to the eldest gentleman's chamomile tea? And I'd have browned the roast on a slow flame and baste it as it's taken out or as soon as it's in.
Please, don't persuade me to submission. A whole life of pregnancies.
The forester just brought in a little billy goat, so I don't know. Should I slaughter it and serve it with horseradish and cold beetroot? Or pickle it in cuckoo flour and vinegar? Well, ma'am, step into the kitchen for just a minute, please. And he never lets me alone. Well, even when I'm standing by the kitchen range. Why, just the other day, I was adding cream to the tomato soup when it came up on me, quite like, from behind, so I almost died of fright. I pull myself together and I say, ain't you ashamed, sir? You have grown-up children. It's a grave sin from behind, and I won't get absolution. But the master, he takes no notice and gets on with it. It was only when I began crying he moderated himself and began explaining to me. He pulls out a silver ruble and asks, take a good look on this side. Is it a ruble? It is. So the master turns the ruble to the other side and again asks, and on this side, what is it? Also a ruble, I say. Well, there you see, stupid, in front and behind, it is the same ruble and the same ass. And so there is no sin. He gave me that ruble and walked off. And there I was with that ruble, just a-standing and a-standing.
So it is through my abstinence that I am placing him in danger of sin? In other words, it is again my fault. But he isn't a youth. Cook, take roughly a kilo of the ham next to the kidneys, but make sure you wash it well. Slice it into 5 equal portions. Get the pestle damp in water and beat the meat. On one side only, you know the way master likes it. But don't forget to sieve the breadcrumbs thoroughly.
Ma'am knows I am familiar with the master's tastes. Shall I also serve carrots on a salad?
Yes, do. And place the cutlets in the long dish, arranging them one against the other. And pour sizzling butter over them.
Come. Come in autumn, wearing a robe light, white, airy, a spider's web. Cast on your auburn hair pearls of dew, glistening with a rainbow of cold hues. Oh, come in autumn, wrapped in the sad, longing complaint of cranes, flying aloft in the grey depth of heaven, breathing the scent of flowers from which the frost draws blood. Oh, come in autumn. At twilight, drowsy, shimmering, uncertain, and rest your soft, diaphanous, scented hands on my suffering brow.
Please don't interrupt your enjoyment. She only feels a little faint.
Well, you've created quite a mood. Terrified us so with death. You see, it's not a poem that's fit for a social gathering. You're lucky not to have had all the other ladies fainting. No, leave death to the Black Friars. And now I will recite something. Yep. Life is short, that is true. Live. Enjoy all you can. Life means living! So burn your books and grab a girl. Squeeze her tightly like a lemon. So stop all of this moralizing chatter. Give up virtue when lust calls.
Please do enjoy yourselves. It was only a moment. It is her age.
Miss Pauline, did you notice anything about me? What happened? Why was Bianca frightened as if she'd seen a ghost?
She's got worms, poor girl. She's often sick, and she vomits. But she's all right now.
But it's I who frightened her. Perhaps you've noticed an untidiness in my dress. Some departure from the norm.
You are funny.
Oh, my little lamb. Remember how you rode on my knees, huh? Would you like to ride again?
This is how the lady rides, the lady rides, the lady rides. Clip, clop, clip. This is how the gentleman rides, the gentleman rides, the gentleman rides. Galloping, galloping, gallop. This is how the farmer rides, the farmer rides, the farmer rides. Joggity, joggity, jog.
And down in the ditch.
And if I did sit on Grandpa's leg, it would break.
She's running away again. Well, you see, Grandfather seems to have forgotten that the little lambs have turned into young ladies. We're not interested in seeing how the farmer rides unless it's on Benjamin or Felix's knee.
Blood in the girl's bedroom. The clock strikes the hour 4 times. Ding, dong, ding, dong. God, I'm frozen.
There's no point in running around at your nitro. She'll catch cold. I'll see to things. Come, Bianca. Be calm at all costs. Nothing's happened. You'll have to wash. Cotton wool. Where do you keep cotton wool?
I made a beard and a mustache out of it.
Well, really. And where's the sheet?
I put it in the trunk.
Well, that was silly.
I'm sorry,
Oh, you are silly.
but
Well?
please, Auntie, I beg you, don't say anything to Daddy. You may tell Mommy, Cook, and whoever else you like, but not Daddy, never. If you tell him, I'll kill you.
Sleep. Sleep. Good night, children.
Polly? Polly? Are you asleep?
I'm asleep.
Do I disgust you? Do I? Tell me. Aunt told me that it will all be over in 3 days, and then I'll be just as I was before.
I have no idea.
Then we'll again be having fun together. Not today, later. If you're good to me, I had a vision.
Liar.
I swear, on Grandpa's ashes, on Mummy's and Daddy's heads, St. Nicholas came to me.
You're mad. St. Nicholas isn't around in the summer.
I saw him as I'm seeing you. I could have touched him with my hand. And when was this? Perhaps 3 years ago now, when I was in bed with the monks.
So why didn't you
tell me about it at the time.
I didn't dare. And also I'd lost faith. But as time passed, I came to believe in my vision more and more deeply.
St. Nicholas isn't around in the summer.
Well, where is he then?
Up your nose. An old cow like you still believing in fairy tales?
Of course I believe.
Well,
Go on believing them then. You won't be granted absolution after what you said about St. Nicholas.
What? I feel itchy. As though an ant
crawled into my little groove.
You pig. You pig. I'm telling everybody. I really did have this vision. Why won't you believe me?
So maybe you're a saint.
So you do believe now that I had a vision. I was lying alone because they had moved you to another room. I was lying alone. I remember everything well. Daddy and Mommy and Auntie, they had all gone away to see friends. So I begged Cook to come and see me, but she said she was busy getting the ducks. I lay there for a very long time, thinking about various things, but mostly about a dress for Holy Communion, about our dresses and veils, and the way we would march like two princesses all covered in lace and tulle. I was drowsy, but I wasn't asleep. I swear on Grandpa's bones this wasn't a dream. I had my eyes closed. I heard someone turn the handle, but no one was opening the door. I felt as though someone had entered through that closed door, as though a scented wind was blowing, and a shape was floating towards me on the wave of this very beautiful perfume. I was pretending I was asleep, but through the slits in my eyelids, I saw St. Nicholas standing at the foot of the bed. He had on a red cloak and a white cap pulled so low that I couldn't see his face. And he wasn't carrying a sack full of toys. He approached me. He bent over and gazed at me without a word. I closed my eyes tightly and I pretended to sleep, but he didn't move. So I said the Our Father once. Slowly, I made a tiny slit and peered up. He was leaned over as though he was listening to my breathing. And in a voice like beautiful music, he asked, "Are you asleep, my little child?" I didn't move, but I started to pray again in my mind. It was then that he stretched out his hands in red gloves and gently began to remove the eiderdown. I turned on my side. St. Nicholas then dropped the eiderdown and stood upright. His head was touching the ceiling, and the whole room was filled with his red cloak. I lay motionless. Then again I turned on my back. St. Nicholas leaned over and gently began to lift up my nightdress. I was just praying and pretending to sleep.
Why were you pretending? You should have said something.
Well, I didn't want to frighten him off.
Vision like that wouldn't be afraid.
You just wanted him to look at you down there.
You pig! I'm not telling you anymore.
Those who stop halfway end up in hell.
Now I'll tell you about my vision. Don't think you're the only one who has visions. I had a vision in the raspberry bushes.
I lay there like a corpse, as he was lifting my nightdress higher and higher, almost right up to my neck. I had my eyes closed, but I felt, and I heard the gentle rustling of a robe. I peered up and saw him above me, leaning over without a face like a red bird. I closed my eyes tightly and I almost stopped breathing. And I was listening to his breathing. He breathed as heavily as a smith's bellows, like a tired horse, and I could hear my heart beat. I couldn't move my hands or my legs. I wanted to say something, but I couldn't. Then the clock struck 12. I counted, and at the very last stroke, I opened my eyes and looked at him. He was rising now, almost touching the ceiling, and gazing right into my eyes through the slits in his cap. Suddenly, he raised his red-gloved hand and made a sign. And without opening the door, he walked out of the room. It was only after a while that I pulled down my nightdress and covered myself up with the eiderdown. I was started to pray and then I fell asleep. Polly?
Well,
Swear on your own head that you will tell no one about this. And if you do, may you go blind, dumb, and mangy.
amen, I swear. But I do know why I'm always hungry when I wake up in the night. And this Nicholas of yours, was he wearing trousers?
No.
Wedding and mourning. Fold the shirts, tie them up, and put them away. Fold the shirts, tie them up, put them away. Fold the shirts, tie them up, and put them away.
3 Batiste shirts. 1, 2, and 3. 4 knitted day shirts. And matching silk bloomers. 1 modest petticoat in white toile soie with lace or twill. And matching bloomers in the same material.
How pretty, how divine!
1 even more modest petticoat white to go with light evening dresses. 4 night shirts in batiste toile soie. Oh, some corsets with pink ribbons.
It's so tiny!
Oh,
It would fit a dove!
No need for you to worry about that, Polly. When Bianca starts suckling.
May the Lord grant Bianca greater happiness in marriage than her mother had.
Polly, please tell cook to send us some nice tea with jam. But don't you eat up the jam on the way, you glutton. I must tell you in confidence that I'm worried about the way Bianca behaves. Her father brought her up like a boy, like a soldier. Well, she's not coquettish in the least. Well, obviously this mustn't be overdone, but a little bit of vitality. A young girl shouldn't shuffle like an old professor or be stiff as a peg. There is no softness in her movements, even when she dances. She won't cuddle, she won't bend. She might have swallowed a stick. Poor Mr. Benjamin. He also becomes stiff when he's with her, as though he were dipped in starch.
Perhaps she will change when she is married and warmed by the rays of love. I think he is a sensible boy. I am confident about the future.
And do the rays of feeling soften you, warm you up, meld you? The very same thing was being said when they were giving you away to Vincent. Oh, he was so keen to get married, he couldn't stand still. And instead of a tinder box, he got a little angel, a pretty but cold china angel.
Leave the past out of this, Angela. Don't rake up the embers. I never wanted to marry him. Vincent always seemed to me too fiery. I felt I couldn't satisfy him. I was convinced that only you could make him happy.
3 colored tablecloths. 2 white tablecloths with napkins for 12 people for larger gatherings. 2 smaller ones for 6 people. Little colored tablecloths for coffee and supper.
For a family meal of 6, select the cream of the blue.
3 changes of bed linen, 1 elegant, 2 more modest, 12 Turkish towels, 12 kitchen cloths, 6 kitchen towels.
I don't think we need to rush with the dresses. The fashion changes so frequently. In any case, I think I ought to see our seamstress about that. For the time being, she can manage with a light party dress, a white skirt, some pretty blouses, and 2 house skirts.
Pauline, do you have to smack your lips so much.
Perhaps I shouldn't be saying this, but there are matters one can't ignore, so one ought to talk about them openly and straightforwardly, as one does about other matters that touch on life. I think I found something more suitable. Look, Angela.
Daddykins is growing weaker all the time, and the worst may happen at any moment, but he hasn't the least idea.
Maybe it is just as well for him, but we must remain brave and clear-sighted on his account. After all, buying the material, and even the preparation means nothing. I've known people who, after the last unction, lived on for another 10 years. Bah, not just lived, but indulged themselves. I think this morning dress in matte silk with draperies on the collarbone and lace ruffle would suit me. With an 80-centimeter width, we would only need 3 meters and a little over.
For us, at our age, these draperies look too bright, too provocative.
So, maybe this one in Turchette, with ruches at the neck and sleeves, draperies on the bodies. With a 90-centimeter width, we would only need 3 meters and a little over. Perhaps you should choose that other one. The girls could have 2 similar dresses. Those! Oh,
Perhaps we ought to ask Pauline.
Oh.
Stop stuffing yourself with chocolates and come have a look.
Oh, lace. Oh.
Here, a dress in crepe satin with trimmings in white silk with black dots.
And when is Grandpa's funeral? How can you?
Me?
This is sheer cynicism and lack of manners.
I'm sorry.
There are, unfortunately, many people who regard the wearing of mourning as a convention, but it is difficult to imagine one's closest relatives walking behind the coffin of their father or brother in colorful or gaudy attire.
When you grow up, Pauline, you will understand that for us women,
But Grandpa's as healthy as a mushroom! He was capering around the garden like a grasshopper!
What do you mean by caper?
Well, just simply that he was playing at chasing cook. He even jumped on top of her!
don't babble and don't interrupt. Well then, we women do not need to lose our charm even during mourning. What's more, you should know that the black of mourning often brings out a woman's beauty. A woman who looked banal and insignificant in colorful attire suddenly looks ravishingly pretty in mourning.
There are many instances of
A
this.
suitable hat with a long veil is most important during
A
mourning.
veil is a blessing for many
Well,
women.
amongst them, there are those who wish to hide their grief as deeply as possible,
And tears especially.
or the aggressive and penetrating looks of improper persons.
Besides the hat, you must also think about the rest of your dress.
Most appropriate for a dress is wool and crepe satin, and in the summers, muslin, georgette, and chiffon.
Matte shoes, preferably suede.
And sometimes I imagine that Auntie or Uncle has died or that everybody has died!
Apologize at once. Oh.
I apologize.
After the first 6 months of mourning, white is allowed.
So one can decorate black dresses with white collars, frills, cuffs, and stripes, and on hot days one can wear all white. Oh, during this time one also stops wearing hats with veils, replacing them with black hats.
Simple ones, with white feathers, flowers, or similar decorations.
One starts wearing pearls and diamonds.
Excluding color jewelry.
Mourning, following the death of parents or a spouse, lasts for a year and 6 weeks.
Mourning for grandparents lasts 6 months.
The silent kingdom of death is powerful and mysterious. Vital to resist it. From among the numerous dogmas, this one most terrifyingly and mercilessly proclaims the very end of earthly life. Although, on the other hand, as if in recompense for the above, it throws to the world the triumphal truth regarding the new and more perfect life beyond the grave. I'd imagine that white hair, the dignity of age would be my defense, and that as an old and faithful fighter, I would serve not only grandchildren and great-grandchildren, but that at the end I would undividedly give myself up to serve the nation, the people, and that my helping hand would extend to the peasant, the tradesman, the craftsman, the groom.
Pauline? Lena? Woohoo! Woohoo! Answer me!
In a black wood, past and present, multicolored mushrooms are hidden in the darkness. It's a fairy tale forest. When a man in black comes in, a man in a black cape emerges from the darkness.
Yoo-hoo! I'm here! Yoo-hoo! Answer me, Bibby! Yoo-hoo! 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 What? What's the matter? Oh, your heart's pounding. What's the matter? Oh, we'll go home. I think you're ill. You're trembling all over, you Cole. Yeah. Well, did something frighten you? What frightened you? No. Did you see a wild animal? Yes. Yeah. Oh, it must have been a wild boar. No. Well, maybe the branches frightened you. Lena, I saw it. No. What do you mean?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I'm not sure we ought to buy just yet.
Well, the back is quite sinewy,
Oh, but the thighs are not as sinewy.
so long as the loin is.
Yeah, the one in black is well developed.
Yes, but I think the thighs and the shank are a little weak.
Oh, I felt her all over. I can assure you that the back and the shoulder blades are well sinewed, and the rump pleasantly round. What more can one
Slaughter
expect?
and don't linger.
That is what I thought.
Leave the past out of this, Angela. No use raking up the embers now. They have cooled. I had no wish to marry Vincent. If you remember, I knelt before you and begged you to save me from that yoke, that bliss. But was that possible in those days? You would have been happy together. I'm sure of that. You always impressed him that winter or summer, you never wore bloomers.
Not even now. It's both healthy and comfortable.
Quite so.
You stand with your legs apart, and it feels good.
That's precisely what attracted him.
I was never an angel pretending to be picking violets when I was going about a natural function. My dear Lizzie, I haven't changed in the slightest. Naturalia non sut por venturbia. But I do have Bianca's happiness at heart. It's probably the only thing in the world. Well, after all, I suckled her. And I didn't want Vincent. At that point, I didn't want anyone. You know, well, what happened to my marriage? Michael perished in action. Literally. In the act of consummating our union. Oh, but such were the times. He had no sooner mounted when the bugles called to horse, and before there was time to say, "Charge!" the bugle called them to dismount. And I was left holding a candle with a garland askew on my brow.
Let the shades be. We now live in peaceful times. Let Bianca taste what we were not allowed to taste.
But you have had children by Vincent.
But I never felt a woman with him.
Sometimes stare long into the fire and see a soul, tiny like a spark which grows and rebels, which explodes and covers the trees, the forest, the house, and the whole world. Fire turns into a tiger and devours the world. Arr! I'm turned into a handful of ashes. Fire is a god. Water is a goddess. Water covers everything. Sometimes I feel that it fills the whole room. A bit cold and slippery like a snake, it tears into me through all the openings.
My dear Bianca, both water and fire, subdued by man, are his useful and obedient servants.
Look what I found! See how big it is? Isn't it beautiful? Huge! Do you know anything about mushrooms, Mr. Ben? I've never seen one like this.
Strange shape.
Do please throw it away, Miss Lena.
No! You're jealous. But I'm going to show it to everyone. After all, we are electing the Mushroom Queen.
That is a poisonous toadstool. Please drop it and trample on it, then clean your hands thoroughly. You shouldn't be holding it in your little hands.
What a revolting smell it has. You're right. Mr. Ben, do you know what it's called?
Well, many years ago I studied at Heidelberg. I even began a doctoral thesis on the subject of mushrooms. My supervisor, dear old Pilz, was walking on air. He would pat me on the back and repeat ad nauseum, "In Schwarzer getroffen, in Schwarzer getroffen." But I got bored with the dissertation and came home. As a matter of fact, the mushroom you found is Ithiphalus impudicus from the family of Fallaceae.
Do you have to complicate everything so?
Look, Bianca, see how strange it is?
You wretch! You pig! She's just jealous because I found it and not she.
Putting it bluntly, Miss Lena, that was the shameless stinkhorn. It's an inedible toadstool on account of its very unpleasant odor and has no culinary value.
It reminds me of something.
Let's join the company before they think ill of us.
It reminds me of something.
Please calm down, Miss
It's
Lena.
you. You are Ithiphalus impudicus. I can't stand you. I'm going to tell everybody what they taught you at Heidelberg.
But Lena,
As far as you are concerned, I am Pauline. Please don't use diminutives. I hate when a strange man does that.
forgive me.
And have you asked for Bianca's hand?
Yes.
Poor Mr. Benjamin.
Poor.
You!
Down for tea? Please,
Come.
where are they?
Poor Ben.
On the contrary, I feel very rich. do you mean?
Poor Ben, big Ben. Poor Ben, big Ben. Poor Ben, big Ben. Poor Ben, big Ben.
I'm the mushroom gathering queen.
Hey, where's the mushroom?
I found a splendid, huge. Bianca can testify. Because she's jealous. It was huge, colossal like.
Well,
like,
well.
like this.
Mr. Benjamin can witness.
Well, an agoric.
Angelic.
Indeed, well, yes, an angelic toadstool.
Toadstool? No, no, you won't deprive me of my queen's title. And it was you, Mr. Benjamin, who called it phallus imputicus.
Mr. Benjamin, breast or leg? Please make up your mind. I recommend the breast.
Well, yes, of course. A leg, madam. Although a breast.
As for me, my dear sir, it's the rump. The rump. I prefer the rump above all else.
Let us go forth. The night is now at hand. The day is overworn. The birds all flown, and we have reaped the crops the gods have sown. Despair and death. Deep darkness o'er the land broods like an owl. I am haunted by spectres and mysterious crimes. The winged ahuras of paradise are singing.
Are you ill, cook?
Well, ma'am, Mr. Benjamin says something you can witness with laughing. Oh, Rozewizc.
Well, sir, it's soft, fatty, gooey, and delicate. The best flavors are in the rump.
Intermission.
Sweets. They're going to take you away, my poor little Vivian.
Now, tell me everything.
How did Benji propose to you? Did he kneel in front of you?
They're going to take you away, my lady bird. Tell me, I'm burning with curiosity. You know, Polly, he was terribly embarrassed. He couldn't splutter a word. I said nothing. He took my hand in his. There was the silence of a temple. We gazed into each other's eyes. They always start by holding hands, and then something else. I must tell you that Grandpa's as delicate as your Benji. He too mutters of a temple. Grandpa? Well, imagine last week, after the rehearsal, when everybody had gone, Grandpa began flirtatiously at first, but then quite seriously.
Would you barter with me, Polly?
I'll give you this box of handmade chocolates.
And you'll give me.
Well, what? I'll give you this box of handmade chocolates. Rum truffles, cherry liqueurs, marzipans, and candied fruit. And you'll give me. Well, guess! If you guess, I'll give you half the box. You seem to have imagined something filthy. Or else he wanted you to give him a kiss. No. You want to put his hands under your skirts? No. Wanted to touch you there?
No, no, no.
Then I don't know. Ask me for a stocking. Just one? One stocking. What do you think he's going to do with it? I don't know.
those black silk ones. I could give them to him, both of them. I could just say I gave them away in the village. In any case, they'd be lying around in the locker for months. And there he was on his knees begging me for the stocking, asking me to put it on, take it off, and other such tricks like that. I felt like laughing, but he had such a look I got frightened. I felt awkward because it was unwashed and it stank. But there he was on his knees saying, "Straight up your foot, my little child."
He must be going out of his mind.
Wait.
Magnificent!
They are full of liqueurs and rum. I already had half the box last night when you were asleep. I was nearly sick. My head was spinning from all the alcohol. Have one.
No thanks, I'll have worms incubating in my guts.
These are liqueur ones. The worms will die. If you have one, you'll ask for more.
But you haven't finished about that stocking.
And you haven't told me how Benjamin proposed.
But I just told you, he was holding my hand and he couldn't force out a word.
Silly Billy. Grandpa stroked my leg. And when I asked him whether I ought to wash the stocking because it stank, he burst out with a cry. No, no, let it smell of your tiny little foot.
And then,
Kiss the stocking.
that I won't believe.
I swear, on the ashes of my parents. And then he folded the stocking and put it away together with his wallet in his breast pocket.
That I won't believe under any circumstances. And where is the other stocking? Have you thrown it away?
Don't be silly. Put it away in reserve. And when he loses the one on the left foot, he'll want to exchange something for the other one. He even remarked, "Give me a word of honor that you won't tell anyone." Because he said if I did tell anyone, something dreadful would happen to me.
Word of honor.
He said solemnly that one day he would ask for my bloomers.
Bloomers?
As I love you. Bloomers. If you want, I can give you the other stocking as my wedding gift.
You can stuff it up your nose. My head's beginning to spin with all that liqueur. Holly, can I put my head on your tummy?
Don't press or I'll burst.
Your belly's stretched tight as a drum.
Have you ever slept on a drum?
No, that's just a saying.
Oh, I'm all blown up like a cow with clover. What did I eat?
You eat without stopping all day. Your lips make smacking noises even when you sleep.
Oh, I am not a name for a water sprite feeding on poetry and weeds.
Shall I read to you what I've written about our engagement?
Slug like you can live on flowers. You could eat 2 camellias, aphelias, and 3 tuberoses for lunch, and a lily and willow leaves for pudding as they do in those poems.
So I'll read it to you then.
Go on, it'll send me to sleep.
In that case, I won't. I've come to dwell with thee at the bottom of a lake, in a golden temple like a bell, which thou wilt swing into action with arms powerful like branches of a tree. And the dead heart will stir the heart of the bell. Hold thy heart in my hand like a terrified bird. The heart beats and breaks with happiness. I wish to carry thee as a dromedary carries a leopard. When the leopard buries itself in the cloth of gold of the dromedary's humped body, with my claws I will swing thy silent bell. Do you like this?
Uh-huh.
O bell ringer of my temple, swing with thy bronze heart the silent bell of my body. Climb with me to the top of Mont Blanc and wrap me up with the flame of thy desire. Oh, thou beautiful, white, reeking like the shameless stinkhorn plucked in a black wood on St. John's Eve. Wake me, wake me, wake me.
Oh, beautiful.
drum you have. Silky. May I kiss you? The day your navel's popped up. It looks like a cherry. Don't you think that the navel's a strange part of the anatomy? What's it for, anyway?
I don't know. In any case, surely the navel isn't part of the body like a hand or a foot.
What then?
Nothing. Why do you find the navel so strange? You're fantasizing again. In fact, you're a big liar. You don't see anything. Try fooling Mr. Ben with your vision, not me.
If only you knew how your tummy rumbles and bubbles and spills about. It's so funny.
Don't press or I'll blow up in your face, pig. You silly thing. Do you want the gases to tear me apart? When I'm on my own, I break wind as well as a stable lad.
How dare you speak to me like that? You're cruel.
Blah, 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 blah. And I suppose in your case you have skylarks removing it from your insides. Oh, they've turned us into china dollies. We no longer have guts in our bellies. Surely you have to evacuate noxious gases, otherwise you'll burst to get a cramp in your belly. Once my skylark, I overheard the men sleeping in the stable after the hunt, and they farted like horses. And each time they farted, they laughed as though it was a big joke. Stop it! And your Benji was there too. I must tell you, Beyond, I think men don't differ much from animals. They've turned us into butterflies and little angels. But it's curious how a bull or a stallion wants to impregnate a butterfly. We have nothing. We're ashamed even of our own bodies while they run around with their stinkhorns protruding almost outside.
Lena, I beg you.
I promised myself, I swore on the ashes of our mutual nurse, that one of these days in a drawing room at a reception, or during a dance when there was music and recitation, I'll fart like a peasant, and then I'll go to the monastery or die on the spot. But let the fools see that I am human like everybody else, and not a bodice sprite of jelly and rainbow. There are gases in the temple of my body. Lena, wait. Bianca, what is it? You're crying? Oh, Bianca, my dearest, I don't want to offend you, but sometimes I get so angry. I said that not because I was angry with you, but with them. They want to separate us forever. They don't care about our feelings. They're giving you away in marriage, and they want to push me out of the house with my studies as an excuse. They order us about as if we're calves or ducklings, but we too are humans. And they pretend it's out of love that they give away our bodies to the first man who asks for our hand. And it isn't a hand either, Bianca. They speak of the hand, but they have the arse in mind. And our virginity is supposedly revered. They persuade us that the virtue of virginity is the greatest treasure, and then they give away those treasures to the first one that comes. Oh, those saintly virginal martyrs. Take even those we are staging in our theater. St. Christine or St. Agatha. They are fried in oil. They allow their breasts, legs, tongues, heads to be cut off, but they won't give up their virginity or their faith. And every time we hear the word virgin, we blush because everyone from grandpa to bullfather makes silly faces when they hear it. Oh, don't cry, Bee. Give me a kiss instead, you poor cold slug. That Benji of yours will get a shock when he sees, touches, when you look.
During our engagement, I told him that I would give him my hand if he's going to respect my views and my body. And what did he say? Nothing. He grew pensive. There was a glazed look in his eyes. He stroked my head. He then swore that he wouldn't hurt my feelings when I told him that our marriage, that in a word, I wished for a mariage blanc.
You and your silly mariage blanc. Ask Cook what that blanc really is like.
He swore that until I desire it, he won't touch me. You know what? I'll ask that you two should come on our honeymoon. That'll be a treat, Lena, I beg you.
You're rambling again. Better show me your tongue. Say, again.
Why do you want me to show my tongue?
I don't fool.
Oh, bee. Oh, bee. Oh, bee. Oh, bee. Oh, bee. Bee.
Description. Le nez long, la bouche ordinaire, la taille de 3 à 4 pieds de haut. En un mot, un petit monstre. Un petit monstre. Un petit monstre.
Le nez long. La bouche ordinaire. La taille des 3 au côté pied des hauts. En un mot, c'est un petit monstre et ta sœur Bianca.
Un petit monstre. Un petit monstre.
I'm getting married. Or rather, you're giving me away. Perhaps in a moment like this, you might be able to listen to your daughter, who's to be transformed tomorrow into a woman. We've been moving away from each other over the years. You shut up in yourself. I given over to my dreams. I know that when little Erasmus died, you wanted a son. You stopped talking to us. Kept silent for a number of years. You were disappointed and had little enthusiasm for my first cries in this world. When the midwife wanted to show you a child of the female sex, you turned away in disgust. You locked yourself up in your study. And silence again. In order not to irritate you, Mother brought me up and dressed me as a boy until I was 10. When as an adolescent girl,
You all think that I am,
I wished to confide in you,
that I don't exist,
to embrace you.
that there are no longings in me, and the spring has dried up.
You would turn away
But I desire,
and talk half-jokingly of a schoolgirl smelling of buttered rolls.
despite 6 cradles, 5 coffins, and 9 pregnancies, about which you know nothing. I never felt myself a woman carrying you. I lay under him like a tortured animal, like a stone. I thought that he must eventually understand, got discouraged by the lack of response, that he'll leave me in peace at last. But no, he is not satisfied with wenches, cooks, chambermaids, neighbors, foreign. Even now, he forces himself into my bedroom and takes no notice whether I am ill indisposed. His vitality is terrifying. They say he is a picture of health. Indeed, he overflows with health, and not just with health either, quite repulsively.
Father!
Ah! Don't touch me!
haven't loved yet, Benjamin. One can feel that. One can see it.
But you still
No, I
have...
have nothing, my kitten. Don't bother with compliments. Leave that for others. What I have, as you can see.
I do.
In a word, you haven't loved before.
Well, it's difficult. Well, because of a peculiar set of circumstances, I have remained pure. Then the very nature of the matured instinct protected me from temptations. For whenever with an unconscious sensual intention I would approach a woman, I would find myself thrown into such confusion that everything would be lost to it.
I have no idea what they taught you in those Heidelbergs of yours, and have no wish to know. Good morning. I haven't seen you yet today, Father. Oh, on the contrary, you may be able to help us.
No. Oh, no. Of course I'd be pleased to help, but I'm only here for that.
That must be a wedding present for the young couple.
Oh, God's blessing on the young bear. What was I saying? I don't think Mr. Felix has replaced the shave cutter yet. No, it's not a present.
Well, then what is it that you're clutching, Father? We were talking about Bianca.
Oh, yes, indeed. She does stoop a little, but don't let that worry you, Benjamin. Well, I won't interrupt anymore. Mr. Benjamin, when I was Bianca's age, I too used to stoop, like some dromedary young girls always try to hide their darling breasts in the first phase of their development, especially when those breasts grow faster than those of their peers. Yeah. Sometimes the habit of a bad pose will become established, so don't let that bother you. I mean, pay attention to that, Benjamin. Sometimes later, normally a little hair begins to appear on the molar veneris. Still later, in the armpits. Well, yes. I really must go. Farewell. It's completely natural. I wish you luck.
What on earth are you rambling on about, Father? Bianca's past all that.
Is that so? Really? So what was I saying? Yes. Head upright. She's simply bashful. She's lost her poise, but it will pass. A girl her age doesn't know what to do with her hands or feet. But in a twinkling, princess, this is all due to a malfunction of the vessels beneath the epidermis. And in a twinkling, a girl's profile changes, her pelvis expands, female shapes, curvatures. Oh. For the moment, she's still smelling buttered rolls.
Allegorically, my boy, the flower of the soul should be so treated as not to wound it or snap it. There are no rules. So, you haven't loved before?
Yes, circumstances have been such that I have not yet loved, madam. Although, I've put it all into poetry.
It's time you took it out. That capital of feelings.
I cry your mercy, pity, love. I love, merciful love that tantalizes not, one-thoughted, never wandering, guileless love, unmasked and being seen without a blot. Oh, let me have thee whole, all be mine. That shape, that fairness, that sweet minor zest of love, your kiss, those those hands, those eyes divine, that warm, white, lucent, million-pleasured breast, yourself, your soul. In pity, give me all. Withhold no atom's atom, or I die. Or living on, perhaps, your wretched thrall, forget in the mist of idle misery life's purposes, the palette of my mind losing its gust, and my ambition blind.
Mariage blanc. Mariage blanc.
The bride's trousseau, their last night together.
This is our last night together. What's all this show? Are you wearing boots to bed?
It's a present from Grandpa. Riding boots. He also gave me this whip to match. And in exchange for all this, all he asked was that I put these boots on his present so I'll play horses with him. I thought I'd die laughing. He wanted to get engaged to me.
Chloe, how can you do such things?
But I don't do anything. It's him. He keeps begging me, kissing my hand. So he never loved. It's enough for me to straddle my legs on a chair and he begins to blush and stammer. And when he peers down there, it's as though he's having a vision. But what does he see there? That's not my business, but I won't allow him to touch me there. Sometimes I pretend I don't feel when he puts his hand there, and then I smack his paw. Once he started crying.
How can you? That is a mortal sin.
But I don't do anything. I don't even move.
Animals.
And when you get married, what then? What will you do? 10 flowers?
Ben swore he wouldn't touch me.
I'm sure he won't touch. But my butterfly, how do you expect the children to arrive? For the children to arrive, the male has to penetrate you with that male organ of his.
No, no, no.
Yes, yes, yes.
The little large thing?
Like that of a horse.
Well, it won't fit into me then.
Oh, you little slug, you're hardly big enough for a needle. But in a real woman, Cook has a hole like a fur hat.
I can't be married. He'll thrust through and kill me.
Women do often die as a result. But you can cut it off on your wedding night.
I'm afraid.
Bianca is indisposed.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Isn't anyone else going to come?
Bianca is indisposed. She's lying down. And Grandpa has excused himself. In any case, we don't need him in the first tableau. We'll manage somehow. Bianca's tongue is all furry and white like cream cheese.
Shouldn't we call the others?
Never! We don't want someone undesirable and indiscreet peering in and spoiling the surprise. Well, surely our performance is supposed to be a complete surprise for everyone. For everyone. Have you got your part?
Oh, I know it by heart.
Where are the instruments of torture? For the time being, I'll take Bianca's part and play Saint Febronia.
Well, I know Lizzie Mathes's part, but I don't know that whether without Silenus we...
Let's forget Silenus. I've already told you Grandpa isn't available today. I'm ready. For the time being, use the chair instead of the throne. Let's begin.
Whereupon Silenus, perceiving the steadfastness of Saint Febronia, ordered that her robe be removed from her.
Oh, preserve me in purity and virginity. Do with my body whatever thou wishest, but let my virgin soul survive.
Shall I speak for Silenus?
Speak to whoever you like, Mr. Ben.
Let the robes be removed. What are you doing, Miss Polly?
You can see, can't you? Please, undo the clasps. What are you up to? Oh, haven't you ever undone a clasp before? Oh. Why are you gaping so, Mr. Benjamin? Please, speak your part and don't stare at me.
Let her be stretched out. Let her be hung on 4 poles. Let the fire be made ready beneath her.
Have you undone, Mr. Benjamin? Oh, God, do I have to draw every word out of you? What are you doing there? Ah, so long as my purity is safe and my virginity is safe, I care not for fires and tortures. Heaven awaits me.
Here again we have the part of Grandpa. That is of Silenus. Strikes her with birches.
They're by the piano. Harder on the bum! Oh, strike with your birch, a bride of the church. My body you burn, but my soul will earn prizes in heaven. Silenus in his pride will not force the bride to worship a heathen. Now it's your turn, Mr. Ben.
Let her body and her breasts be scorched. Cut off her maiden breast.
Though half alive, I pray and strive to retain inviolate my pure virgin state.
Cut out her tongue and stop her chatter. But, well,
Have you lost your tongue?
hang that female carcass from a tree.
Temple of my flesh, you may take if you wish, but my soul shall be unsullied and free. This doesn't seem to make sense, don't you think, Mr. Benjamin? I don't think Bianca's idea of a temple has quite come off. Even my tongue's all exhausted.
No, Lena, what we're doing here, under the pretext of a rehearsal, is not worthy of us. And in relation to my fiancé, well, I think we've gone too far.
Poor Lizzie Marcus, poor Hunterful, poor Mr. Benjamin. He doesn't know what's in store for him. I've known Bianca since she was a child. Neither her soul nor her her body. We have no secrets from one another. Bianca often wakes up in the night with terrible screams. She says that in the night, water pours into her through all her openings. And she keeps running to my bed because her hands and feet are cold. She's all cold and sweaty like a dead frog.
Lena, how can you? She loves you so much.
She's got worms! Quiet! Grandpa's been peeping at us.
Please be quiet. We've opened our souls to one another. Bianca has opened to me the temple of her soul.
Idiot! And did she tell you that she has? Or rather, she hasn't.
What? You are corrupt to the very marrow.
Quite the contrary. Every bit of me is pretty. Ask Grandpa.
Come to the point. So what? What's Grandpa to do with this?
If you wish, Mr. Benjamin. Well, she has. Or rather, she hasn't. But I heard Aunt telling Mother that so far you haven't loved.
Miss Lena! or rather, Miss Alina. I simply can't believe my own ears. Such words from such pretty lips.
Yes, indeed, from these. Bianca has only one opening. 10 years ago, when we used to play with little Erasmus.
Whom?
Little Erasmus, Bianca's dead little brother. As children, we used to play doctors. Even in those days, you could stick a whole finger into meat. But in Bianca's case, this little finger would hardly go in. It almost broke. And Bianca's belly is full of white worms. Her bum is cold as an icicle. Poor Lizzie Marcus. He'll get his limbs frostbitten in the bedchamber.
Spazia, Messalina, vagina. It's beyond all understanding.
Good morning. You haven't seen the little Pauline here? She's supposed to meet me here with a rehearsal.
The rehearsal is over now.
Oh, she's deceived me so, the little wretch. But she's got a heart of gold, developed above her age. She hasn't said where she's going, into the house. Perhaps she's seen Bianca. What's the matter? Oh, God's will and testament. Where might she be? She's like a drill, Mr. Benjamin. Turning and twisting and turning and twisting and turning.
I cried for madder music and for stronger wine. But when the feast is finished and the lamps expire, then fall thy shadow, Sinara. The night is thine, and I am desolate and sick of an old passion. hungry for the lips of my desire.
The happy couple! This is a very realistic scene. Not real. Now smack your lips, you wild animals!
The happy couple.
The happy couple.
The happy couple.
The happy couple.
dream, Benjamin. Your hair was sprinkled with unguents of Araby. Your tunic, woven from the most delicate siden wool. A wreath of roses on your temples, and your head propped up against a woman's bosom, but not of a mother or a sister or even your lover. Benjamin, do you understand that moment in which a woman is not yet a lover, but already loves and is loved? As for the woman, have you seen one that's beautiful, powerful in her sensuality, saintly in her spirit, with a forehead that is such a strength of thought that she could direct the fate of Athens, while on her lips such delight, and in her look such a warm and piercing attractiveness? Have you dreamt of her? Her eyes, if lowered, are a flame of only hope and memories. They're too dazzling and therefore shaded. The blush in her cheek, it's life. It's blood which gushes to the outside from the bursting organism. Her love. Believe me, brother, such women there are. And you may meet her, and you may desire to die in her arms in order not to exist thereafter.
Give me women, wine and snuff, until I cry out, hold, enough. You may do so, sans objection, until the day of resurrection. For bless my beard, they I shall be my beloved Trinity. Fill for me a brimming bowl, and let me in it drown my soul.
There's a fire in the hearth. Above the hearth, a colossal mirror reflecting an uneasy, moving light, like a river.
Then get dressed.
I love you, Bee.
Don't touch me. It's my period today, so your undressing doesn't make any sense. Don't touch me. Don't put on your trousers. Don't touch me. My legs have grown together. From the feet right up to the navel, I'm covered in a cold, fishy scale. Ben, do you understand? I have a cold, fishy tail instead of legs. You married a siren. Do you understand? I'm a siren, a chimera. Look! I've got a lion's head, a goat's body, and a snake's tail.
You're tired, my little mouse. Your paws all cold and sweaty. Are you afraid?
Can't you hear how my sister sirens are enticing me? Calling me?
I love you.
Lie down next to me. Don't touch me. Tell me, what do you love in me? The face?
the waist. What are you thinking about? Breasts? Hams? Ben, have you ever loved? Physically? Why won't you answer me? Are you pretending to be asleep? What are you thinking about? Do you remember what you promised me in the Black Wood? What are you thinking about?
That you.
What were your thoughts when you were taking off your trousers, your jacket, your collar?
I don't know.
You do, and so do I. Don't lay your head on my breast. My armpits smell of the goat. I don't want you to sense my smell. Fear not, my Benny, I won't leave you. My Benny, I love you. You won't run away from me. I shall hold you until your hair grows white and you lose all your teeth. I'll cover you with the German duvet and put a white skull cap on your head. Are you asleep, Benny?
I am standing in front of the hearth, looking at their image in the mirror, wearing a black party dress.
I'm ready.
I am ready.
I am your brother.